Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of Talkin ATL Hogs. This is episode number 74. And again, I am with the most beautiful crew I could ask for, the Jefferson twins, Andrew and Chase Jefferson. I am John Joyner again. Um, guys, how was your Easter Sunday? First of all, happy Easter Sunday for those who celebrate. How was your Easter Sunday, fellas?
Easter Sunday was great. I mean, it was we actually did all of our Easter festivities with our family yesterday, only because today was going to be so busy at church, which it was. We stayed at church for pretty much half the day. But it was a great time. We left church, got to catch the Braves game. Braves lost in a dramatic walk-off in extra innings, so that was kind of poopy. But
Did y'all go to the
other
game
than
or
that,
did you watch it from home?
no, the game was being played in Arizona. No, we did
Oh,
not
right,
fly to
yeah.
Arizona, fly back. That would be impressive if we did that all in one day, but unfortunately not. Yeah, but we ate some good food, had some banging desserts, so that
Oh
was
yeah,
nice. And yeah, pretty good Easter Sunday.
yeah, mine too. My family actually went to church last night because it was gonna rain. Well, it was gonna rain this morning, and like my church normally does like Easter services outside for Easter, but we went last night instead. So yeah, no. So
Yeah,
yeah, we
the
did all of our Easter stuff when we went to church last night, but we still had like dinner with my uncle. My uncle came over, and yeah, we had a nice dinner. Opened our baskets and stuff, and yeah, so it was good.
yeah, weather was definitely wasn't the best today, but the vibes were still high, so it was still
It
a
got better
banging
throughout the
Easter
day. Like it
Sunday.
got better. Like it got better
It
throughout
did.
like 1 or 2 o'clock. But
It
I
was
don't know.
really just last night and then around, I think it stopped at 11 and then it was pretty chill the rest of the day.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, as we always start out with, we start each episode out. We're gonna do a little bit of a start bench cut. But instead
Woo!
of that, I'm gonna steal Mr. Voles' idea from Dinger Dudes, which y'all are a part of. Shout out to Dinger Dudes and Jackson
Shout
again. I'm
shout out
sorry.
to the if y'all don't know what Jackson looks like, I really do feel like he looks like
Don't
the
don't
leprechaun,
don't
the
don't
leprechaun of the
don't
Celtics logo.
don't
That's
don't
a
show it,
pretty
Jackson. You need to shut down.
that's a pretty accurate representation. Just look at the Celtics logo. That's a pretty accurate representation of Jackson Voles.
No, you're right because we did sacrifice him last season
Oh,
for a few wins over
was
the
that
Boston.
was that before the podcast or was that when we had the podcast? I don't
That
remember.
was that was during the podcast. Yeah,
Okay, that was last year. Yeah, in case I don't know what he's talking about, the Hawks were playing the Boston Celtics, and we really needed a win, so we sacrificed Jackson Voles in the UWG library, and I think that was actually when we beat the Boston like twice in 1 week. So
yeah. So I
evidently the
mean, it worked.
sacrifice worked.
Yeah. Anyways, to
Don't
steal Jackson's
YouTube,
idea, I
YouTube,
was
don't
thinking.
flag us. YouTube, it's a joke. It's a joke. Don't
Yeah,
flag us.
it's a
It's a
joke.
joke.
We did not. We did not. We did
Calm
not.
down, YouTube. Calm down.
Jackson is alive. In fact, we're gonna have Jackson on next week as proof that we did not I don't know that he's alive and well. But
Watch this
anyways,
episode get taken down.
yeah. But anyways, to steal Jackson's idea. Sorry, Jackson, but again, not sorry. I was thinking we could do an all-time Atlanta Hawks draft where we're gonna pick an entire starting five plus a 6 man slash utility player. And you know what?
Hmm.
I'm also gonna steal Jackson's idea again, but not really. I'm gonna give Andrew the first pick, Chase the second pick, and I'm gonna give myself the last
Ooh.
pick. And we're also gonna do a snake draft, so I get back-to-back picks.
Respect. Okay. Oh. Jordan messed up by giving me the first
No, I
overall
did not.
pick.
Chase, I'm gonna text you what I want. What I'm thinking. Andrew's gonna do.
I Jordan know messed exactly. up, bro. Jordan
Andrew,
messed up. Give me.
Andrew, do not mess this up for us.
He messed
Please,
up by giving me the first overall pick.
please do not mess this up.
Well, Now we know who Andrew's point guard's about to be. he messed up, boys. He messed up. Now
No, I did not. I did not mess up. I did this on purpose. I did that on
there
purpose because
is
I know if I gave Chase the pick, he was gonna take him just to screw with you.
how there big is is
Please,
your balls, Andrew? How big is your balls? There
please
is an
take him.
obvious pick. There is an obvious pick here. But I'm actually gonna throw you guys off a little bit and hit you with a little bit of a wild card pick. So I'm actually gonna go with the second greatest Atlanta. I'm gonna let you guys have the greatest player in Hawks history, just out of the leisure of my own heart, since it is Easter Sunday. So I'm gonna take the second best player, and take Dominique Wilkins, which
Dang it!
I did hear that his statue is soon to be taken down to get replaced with Keaton Wallace, obviously. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's fine, whatever.
dang it.
Oh,
Whatever.
for
I mean,
sure, for sure.
yeah, it's gonna happen. But we all knew it was gonna happen. But
Understandable.
I'm gonna put him in my small forward position. So Dominique Wilkins, welcome to the Jeffy Club.
All right. Well, I guess the second pick is quite obvious. I had to go with the guy who was recently traded halfway through the season. Of course, he's the Atlanta Hawks leader in assists. Past Dominique Wilkins, of course. One of the best playmakers currently in the NBA. The best playmaker the Atlanta Hawks has ever had. Was a key part of that 2021 Eastern Conference Finals run. Gotta go with my homeboy, Ice Trae Young. And obviously, I'm putting him at the point guard position.
Okay. I
This
think
guy
this.
right
I
here.
think I. Oh, that is so tough. Um. So I have back-to-back picks. So, but for my
Keaton
first
Wallace,
pick,
good pick, John. Good
no,
pick.
no, 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 no. No, no. Sorry, I'm gonna leave that for Andrew to eventually pick at some point.
That's all you, Andrew.
But I think I'll know who I'm taking here. I'm gonna go with Kyle Korver, obviously. Put him at the shooting guard.
Yes, sir. Respect.
And so I get back-to-back picks. I'll be right back. This should. Actually. You know what? Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm gonna. Again, this should tell you who I'm picking.
I think I know who he's about to pick next. If he doesn't take who I'm thinking, then I'm definitely taking him.
Oh,
This
is it
isn't
Joe
his
Johnson?
actual jersey, but it's
Is it Joe
the
Johnson?
school. You know.
It's gotta be
Shout
Joe
out.
Johnson.
Oh,
Shout out.
wow.
Shout out Joe Johnson. I said
Hey.
Joe. Met him. We met him a few months
We did.
ago.
We did.
Met a Hawks game, which unfortunately was the same game that Trae Young got traded. So,
It was an
shout out
emotional
Joe
day.
eventful night.
Johnson.
Very
So
eventful
yeah,
night.
and he's gonna be a my small forward.
Okay. Okay.
So I have
I
my
love the
shooting guard
pick.
and my small forward, my two wings.
Okay.
Jason, please back to you.
So I got the point guard. I love the Joe Johnson pick. That's not who I thought you were gonna go. So I have an elite playmaker. So now I got to go to one of the best defensive players in NBA history, the guy who invented the finger wag, two-time
I was gonna
defensive
take him.
player
I should have
of the
taken him.
year.
I should have taken him.
Dikembe Mutombo, baby. So I love my team already. Trey at the point guard, Mutombo at center. My team is looking smexy. All right, Andrew, who you got?
Okay.
You
So
get back-to-back here.
Yeah, I get back-to-back here. Because I get back-to-back picks, I'm going to take full advantage of my options here. Now, I am going to go with a recent player. I've got my small forward, Dominique Wilkins. I got to make sure I get a good rebounder. And I love a big man who can shoot. I've mentioned it so many times on this podcast. I absolutely love guys like a Nyeke Kongwu who can shoot at the top of the key for catch and shoot opportunities, who can grab rebounds, who can protect the rim, who can shot block, who's dominant in post. And nobody in Atlanta Hawks history was better at all those things combined than Mr. Al Horford. Give me Al Horford at the center position. And then I already have the dunk contest winner, human highlight reel, Dominique Wilkins himself. So why not get the other dunk contest winner? So I have one of the most explosive dunking duos in the entire league put on the same team. Give me Spud Webb at the point guard, baby.
Is he gonna be a starter or is he your starting point guard?
Oh, absolutely, he's my starting point guard.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have point guard for small forward,
I have
Center?
point guard, small forward, and center. So I have
Okay.
shooting guard and power forward left on my roster.
And then your bench. And then your bench
And then my
player.
bench piece. And then my bench
Player.
piece.
Bench
And
player,
then
yeah.
I have point guard, center, so I need both my forwards and another guard. I'm gonna go ahead and get my power forward out of the way.
Oh
I'm
no.
turning the clock all the way back, and I'm picking the man who has his jersey retired in the rafters. He's responsible for the only franchise ring. I put franchise in quotation because this was not in Atlanta, but he was also
Okay.
a two-time MVP. Give me 50s legend Bob Pettit.
Okay.
That's not even your uncle's uncle knows who that is. Well,
Mm.
obviously everyone knows who that
You
is.
know
But
what? I still need my point guard. I still need my point guard. My
Wait, Chase, did you
my
do
power
back-to-back
forward and
picks?
and my center.
No, I have the second pick. I don't get back to back.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
stupid.
I get back to back. So I still need my point guard, my power forward, and my center, and my bench piece. So I'm gonna take a power forward here, and you know what? It's Easter Sunday. We gotta get biblical.
John the
He's also
Baptist?
has the same
Ooh.
first name as me. So I'm gonna go. Obviously, the first two great dunkers Chase has, or no,
Andrew.
Andrew's one,
Yeah.
one, Chase has the other. I gotta take my namesake John the Baptist. Put him at the 4.
Respect.
So I got Kyle Korver, Joe Johnson, and then John Collins at my 4, and then for my for my center, who do I want? You know what? You know what? You know what? This might be a terrible pick because he wasn't the best in Atlanta, but it's a big name. Give me Dwight Howard at my center.
Okay. Hey, look, you
Dwight
know.
Howard at my center.
Hey,
Y'all know how
I'll tell
I
you
feel
one
about
thing.
Dwight Howard at the Hawks, man.
I'll tell
Y'all know
you-
how I feel about him.
I'll tell you one thing, John. You got yourself an elite rebounder. You might not be able to get
There we
anything
go.
putback wise, but you have an elite rebounder. That's for sure.
He's also a great shot blocker. I mean, he took the Kempe from me, so I needed this. So I need someone else that's very elite at that.
Hey.
So
Speaking of defense, I need a guy. I need a guard who can really defend the backcourt. Trae Young's got the playmaking under wraps. I need someone alongside him that can stand by and play a Dyson Daniels type role. But it's not Dyson Daniels. It was Dyson Daniels before Dyson Daniels. Give me the man of the 90s, Mookie Blaylock.
Okay. Now I've got a couple options that I can go with here. God, this is a little tough for me here because I'm not gonna overthink it. I need a shooting guard. Now, I was thinking about, you know what? No, I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to, let's start with the shooting guard. I'm going to go ahead and get one of the, he's a 5-time All-Star. He's a very underrated ball handler. Way ahead of his time when it comes to ball handling. Great playmaker as well, but everybody knows him because of the pistols, baby. Give me Pete Maravich at the shooting guard position.
Good pick. Good pick.
Awesome. Also, just got those out there. One of my favorite jerseys in Atlanta Hawks history during the Pistol Pete era, the blue jerseys with the line. Y'all remember when we used to wear those occasionally back in the Dennis Shooter days? Why did we stop doing that? Those were so beautiful. I would kill for us to have those back for like maybe a retro City Edition jersey or something. That would be fire. Absolutely fire.
the Atlanta Hawks have been throwing back some jerseys. We got the Peachtree back. Next year, we're bringing back the MLK. So we're going on the trend of where we're bringing jersey back. So who's to say that we won't eventually bring those back and maybe make it a little more modernized?
Who knows? Who knows? But to wrap it up in my starting five at least, and I know I've got to go back and do my bench player, but I need a power forward here. And why not go with the Swiss Army knife with he's a lot of athleticism, plays great defense, very versatile, played for the Hawks for 9 seasons. He's a high flying force, electric shooter. Give me Josh Smith at the power forward position to sum up my starting five. So my starting five is Spud Webb at the point, Pete Maravich at the shooting guard, Dominique Wilkins at the small forward, Josh Smith at the power forward, and Al Horford at the 5. Absolutely love that starting 5.
I'm going to wrap up mine. I'm going to turn it back the clock again. I'm going to go with the guy who played in the 70s and 80s era, maybe an Atlanta Hawks player that's not talked about enough and is quite frequently overshadowed because this dude has had multiple seasons where he averaged more than 20 points a game, which that was like you got your feet washed by the entire team. If you average that in the 70s, that was pretty historical. Give me John Drew, 70s and 80s Hawks legend at the small forward spot.
Okay.
There's one guy I cannot believe, and nobody's picked yet, by the way.
I think I know.
I got back to back here, so I could pick him, Andrew.
I think I know who you're talking about, Andrew. And if he's left on the table, I'm definitely snagging him for my bench because that's the only one I've left.
He's not going to be left now.
I have my bench left.
So, I have my point guard on my bench. And for my point guard, this may come as a shock of who I'm leaving out, but give me Dennis Schroeder at my point guard position.
Hey, the blonde striped German, I like it.
Yeah, give me Dennis Schroeder at my point guard position. At the point guard position, very underrated, very underrated Hawks player.
I agree.
Mentored. Well, I'm not sure. Well, no, I think we traded him before. Before we drafted Trae Young, so you never got to mentor him.
He played behind Jeff Teague though.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did play behind Jeff Teague. You're right. But he also started for us in our very bad Hawks days. But
he was my very first Atlanta Hawks jersey.
But to round out my bench player, and this guy can interswap with one of my forwards, and I think y'all were trying to mention him. Give me the guy that put the team on his back this season when Trae Young was out for 2.5 to 3 months. Give me the well-deserved MVP of the league, Jalen Johnson.
I cannot believe no one picked him. I had the perfect opportunity to put him at my small forward, and I wasn't even thinking like today. I was thinking I was trying to throw back, think of players in the past, and I wasn't even considering today's roster. I am sick that I left Jalen Johnson off the board.
That's not even who I was talking about, though. But yeah, that is an obvious pick there. Absolutely.
I know who you're talking about, Andrew, and I'm about to snag him right here.
Okay.
Coming off my bench, he was a leader of the 60-win season back in 15-16. He was a 4-time All-Star with the Hawks. A lot of versatility. Give me Paul Millsap coming off my bench.
God, y'all boys messed up, man. Y'all just
are you thinking about Doc Rivers?
I am thinking about Doc Rivers, but you know what?
I have Trae Young. He's a better playmaker than Doc Rivers.
Oh no, I'm just talking about for your bench. You could have easily just picked up Doc Rivers.
I love Paul Millsap. Hey, Paul Millsap's a 4-time All-Star, baby.
I thought about Doc Rivers. I thought about Doc Rivers honestly, just because I didn't take a single guy from the 90s.
But you're talking about a guy who led the Atlanta Hawks franchise in assists until Trae Young came around, man. I mean, this dude held the fort down for the Atlanta Hawks. He was easily the best playmaker in Hawks history before Trae Young came around. But you know what? I'm not. I know I've been yapping about Doc Rivers and I've been bamboozled about how nobody's picked him up. And even though I had the opportunity to take a steal and get Doc Rivers and pull him as my sixth man and just end this thing right here, I'm actually going to do a little fun pick here because every team needs that veteran piece. A guy that is out of his prime, but in his twilight years, who can shed his light onto everybody else around him. So even though this guy was in his twilight zone with the Atlanta Hawks,
good pick, Andrew.
And I don't think. Who do you think I'm picking? I don't think you know. I don't think you know who I'm picking.
Vince Carter?
No, not Vince Carter.
Oh.
And a lot of people forget he even played for the Atlanta Hawks at the end of his career. But give me NBA Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady, baby. Put him right there on my sixth spot, baby, because why not? If I have the opportunity to, why not?
Hey, would y'all be okay if I change my Paul Millsap pick?
Sure, go for
I
it.
don't care.
I can't believe I cannot believe no one picked up this guy. He is y'all's jaws are gonna drop to the floor when I say his name because nobody even considered him. We'll talk about the man who signed with the Atlanta Hawks out of nowhere, and the impact he made on this team, the way he shifted and transitioned us into the leader of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
Give me NBA Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony, baby.
I hate you, bro.
Everybody will remember his one-day contract with the Atlanta Hawks.
Beautiful.
Not one day, like 15-minute contract.
Maybe it was maybe it's more like an hour or two contract with the Atlanta Hawks.
What a time to be alive.
I'm shocked he did not take Wallace.
What's up with the no Keith Wallace?
Because if I would have taken Keith Wallace, then it didn't matter who y'all drafted. The draft was over. I won top to bottom. I didn't want to make it that easy. I mean, what was fun in that? We're talking about the greatest point guard in NBA history. Like, why would I just end the draft before it even starts?
I respect it.
I'm a man of integrity.
You know, I appreciate you for that. I really do. I appreciate you.
I got you.
Anywho, let's get into some Hawks basketball. Starting off last Monday, March 30th, we
Speaking of the Celtics, we just sacrificing some.
Speaking of the Celtics, this was a game against the Celtics, but this time it was in Atlanta. They didn't have Jason Tatum, which I mean, boo-hoo. He shouldn't even be playing this season anyway, because you shouldn't rush an Achilles injury. I think what's his name didn't play?
We had a couple of guys not play. Corey Kispert didn't play. Of course, unfortunately, Keaton Wallace didn't play.
I think injured guys. I think
Kispert didn't play by choice.
Yeah, Kispert. Yeah, that was a coach's decision. But anyways, I think Jock Landale was the only guy that was out for injury for this game. But so on Monday, last Monday, we hosted the Celtics, and sort of a rematch game against the game from that Friday, where they absolutely didn't destroy us, but beat us by 7. But we got we won this game and we beat them by 10. So 10's better than 7. So I mean we put the bet harder on them this time. So the Hawks leading scorers were it's actually a tie between Jalen Johnson and Nneka Okongwu. It seems like they were going like band for band because they each played 36 minutes, both had 20 points. and they basically had the same field goal percentage. They both shot 7 shots, except Congo shot 14 shots. Jalen shot 13. So Jalen had a better shooting percentage from the field total. But Jalen finished with 20 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Congo finished with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. CJ McCollum finished with 14 points, 1 rebound, 6 assists. And Nikhil Alexander-Walker finished with 17 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and no steals. Oh yeah, Congo had 3 steals, and then Dyson finished with 18 points. We had Congo off the bench with 10 points, and Zachary off the bench with 9 points, shooting 100% from 3. Finished the game with shooting 3 for 4. So the only missed field goal was a 2-point attempt. So I mean that's pretty solid, honestly.
Absolutely.
But and the leading scorer for Boston was Jaylen Brown, who finished with 29 points, finished 9 for 29, 3 for 9 from 3. And then 8 for 14 from the free throw line. And I was talking with one of my Celtics friends, not Jackson. I was talking with another friend of mine, my friend Jacob, and he was telling me that Dicey Daniels sucks. But basically, I mean, if you watch the game, then you notice that Dyson put Jaylen Brown in solitary confinement because of this terrible shooting percentage. Chase, why don't you break down this game for us?
John, what did you say this friend's name was?
Jacob.
Yeah, we need to get our boy Jacob on this podcast and talk about that comment. Because how dare you say that the Great Barrier Thief sucks? And yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, John, because yeah, you can look that Jaylen Brown led the team in points, 29 points. He had 10 rebounds included. Nice little double-double, right? Yeah, no, don't let those numbers fool you. Don't even let the 9 for 29 deceive you, because it's important to note that most of those points didn't come until really late in the game when the Celtics started to make a little bit of a comeback, but that was mainly because the Atlanta Hawks just had a lot of trouble closing the game. But the difference maker this night versus the previous game against the Celtics in Boston was that third quarter. If you remember the game that we talked about last episode in Boston, the Atlanta Hawks started off hot. They had a 16-point lead towards the end of the first quarter. I think we had like an 8 or a 7-point lead at halftime, and the third quarter came around, and we just became really stagnant. Our offense played way too loose, way too sloppy, and the Celtics just kind of controlled it the rest of the way. But this game in particular was completely different. It was the same aspect. The first and half was pretty back and forth, which, by the way, shout out to Nikhil Alexander-Walker with this incredible third quarter of a court shot to end the first half.
Yeah, that shot was beautiful. It wasn't beautiful, but it was pretty crazy.
I'm just gonna jump in and mention this.
You shot that fading out of bounds off one leg and banked it in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
that was phenomenal.
Since you brought that up, Chase, if you remember not the last time we were in Boston, but the first time we were in Boston when the Atlanta Hawks got cruised their way to a win, there's a moment where Nikhil Alexander-Walker winding down the shot clock in the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, kind of put the dagger in the Celtics.
Yes.
I
do remember that.
Off-balance, left-handed 3. So that same shot, it was a lot deeper in the game that we're talking about. But of course, it was at the buzzer, but it was still with his left hand. And it's kind of funny because the Celtics commentator in that first game in Boston chimed in, was like, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. He switched hands midair and still made that. And then he does the same thing to the same team, a few weeks down the road. So I really wish I could have heard what the Celtics commentator said about that same shot, but from, almost half court. I mean, I'm sure they were just as baffled as they were previously. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought that was kind of funny.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But the big thing here was that, that was a majestic and a banging way for the Atlanta Hawks to end the first half. And what's the word I'm looking for here?
Extravagant,
No.
nefarious,
No.
malicious,
Hang on, hang on. This is gonna bug me. I gotta think about this
sexy.
word. Okay, I can't think of the word. So unlike the game in Boston, the Atlanta Hawks carry that momentum from the first half into the third quarter, outshot the Celtics 36-22 to take a 14-point lead into the fourth quarter. And where in the fourth quarter, we ended up having a 21-point lead at one point. But then the Celtics started to come back a little bit. That's when Jaylen Brown decided he wanted to turn on the light a little bit and start playing good basketball, which, by the way, I got to say had nothing to do with the Atlanta Hawks defensively because Dyson Daniels was still playing terrific defense on Jaylen Brown, and he just hit back-to-back ridiculous three-point shots that kind of
Yeah.
shifted momentum towards Boston. And then Luke Garza, by the way, shout out to him, Iowa Hawkeyes legend, had a really strong performance from Boston. I got to say, I think he's been one of the most underrated players in the league this year. And I mean, this isn't a Celtics podcast. I'm not trying to talk Boston basketball here by any means.
I don't think.
But
I don't think. Don't give Jackson any ideas. Don't.
I
give
just want to
Jackson any
say,
ideas.
I just want to say for all you Celtics fans that I hope, and if you're a Celtics fan listening, please leave because this is not a place for you. We do not associate with anyone from Boston or who likes Boston from here. But anyways, I do want to say I think the Celtics kind of accidentally found a good stud and Luke Garza. What I mean by that, they drafted him late. I forgot what year it was, but I don't think they really had any true intentions of using him in any.
Boston didn't draft him, but it was Detroit.
Detroit drafted him.
Yeah, Detroit drafted him. Then went to Minnesota for a bit, and then somehow he ended up in Boston. I don't know how. Maybe a trade or something.
Well, regardless, I don't think the Celtics
between Minnesota and Boston.
Not that I can remember. Here, I'm gonna look that up real quick because I'm really curious.
He was a 52nd overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft to the Detroit Pistons.
Yes, I mean, yes. Somehow,
we'll try to figure out how he ended up in Boston.
He was like a reigning Big Ten Player of the Year, and he went that low somehow. I don't know how.
Okay, so it was in July of 2025. He signed a 2-year deal. He was a free agent, and he signed a 2-year deal to the Boston Celtics. But $5.5 million contract for 2 years kind of shows you that the Celtics never had any true intentions of using him in any real way. But if you remember this past offseason, after it was announced that Jason Tatum was out for the year because nobody thought he was going to make this miraculous comeback, even though he said he was, that's when they started trading away a lot of key players that didn't make sense to a lot of people, especially Drew Holiday going to Portland. And they started just shifting Al Horford to Boston as well. All these trades that just didn't make a lot of sense. That's when everybody thought Boston was going to flop this year. But then, of course, Jaylen Brown, Gary Pritchard, they're having the seasons that they're having. Jason Tatum's now back. But moving all those pieces made way for a guy like Luke Garza to step onto the scene and make an impact in a really big way. And the reason
Boston doesn't really have any impactful bigs like they had it with Kristaps and Robert Williams before they traded them both.
Right. And the thing is, the reason I went on this whole rant in the first place is that, sometimes when you pick up a player or you draft a player that you don't have the intention of using in any serious way, you never know what kind of person that can flourish or what kind of person they can flourish into. Because the Atlanta Hawks have a couple of those players on their team. Two specifically is Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson Daniels, who both kind of had
Jock Landale this year.
Jock Landale as well. Both kind of had a similar path as Luke Garza. You think about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. This is his fourth different team already. When he played for I think he got drafted by New Orleans, went to Utah, went to Minnesota, and now look what he is on the Atlanta Hawks. Dyson Daniels, he was originally an end-of-the-bench guy for New Orleans. I'm not sure if he was anywhere before, but now look what the player he turned into. One of the best defending guards in the league, if not the best. So You never know what kind of stuff can flourish given the situation. So, Angie, I'm going to flip it to you now after that rant. I'm sorry. I did not want to make this sound like a Boston Celtics podcast, but
No,
that's the point I was getting to.
no.
Andrew, if you want to dive into this game a little deeper and share your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I think I take a look at this game, and I think this game perfectly mirrors what Quinn Snyder has been doing in the frame of this franchise ever since he's kind of taken the helm. Because there's been a quiet structure that he's been using, and I think the reason why the Hawks have been so overlooked, like you can even go back to
Bro, I'm
Kendrick
glad you
Perkins
said that.
and whoever Kendrick Perkins was talking to, and they were
Richard
going back and
Jefferson.
forth. Yeah, they're going back and forth between, are the Hawks frauds? Are they mediocre? Are they actually proving their win streak to be a force to be reckoned with in the postseason? All this stuff, and and even Stephen A. Smith dabbled his toes in it. And the reason why I truly believe the Hawks have been overlooked is because you take a look at the Hawks rotation this year and how many pieces have been moving in and been moving out. The trade between with Trae Young to Washington obviously being the biggest headline, and it proves that Quinn Snyder had this quiet foundation being built from day one, but didn't know how to structure it yet because he didn't know who his core pieces were going to be. But now he's got that foundation, and he had that foundation going into All-Star break, which made the transition a whole lot easier given that week gap. And now he's been able to build upon those pieces and understand where everybody needs to play in what position and get those guys to form that relationship with each other so you can actually see it resemble on the court. And here it is now. I mean, the record since All-Star break speaks for itself. This game against Boston was our 13th consecutive win in State Farm Arena. So you see everything coming to fruition. And it obviously tip your cap to Quinn Snyder because it takes such a legendary coach to be able to withstand all those unforeseen transitions all compact into one season and still build a great product out of it. And I think this game exemplifies that the most because this is the exact look-alike game that we saw when Boston first came to Atlanta way early in the season, and it was just an utter disaster. I mean, Jaylen Brown had almost 40 points at halftime. The Celtics absolutely routed us without.
Payne
Yeah, the
Pritchard had
Celtics.
like 30-plus points.
Yeah, and the Celtics absolutely routed us at home, embarrassing losses from our home crowd. And it was just devastating time for Atlanta. We were looking no more than a playing team than we were a year ago. But now here we are, Celtics returning to Atlanta, and we maintained full control of the entire game until Jaylen Brown randomly exploded, like Chase mentioned. So that's just how I see this game right here. I think it's like one of those commercials, like a before and after. The first trip Boston made to Atlanta was the before, and this game we're talking about now was the after product. And I think that speaks dividendly to what Quinn Snyder has built with this team throughout the transitions, throughout the unforeseen moving pieces. And he has built a quality product in Atlanta. And absolutely, Richard Jefferson, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with come postseason time. I'm not a big Kendrick Perkins guy, but I do respect Kendrick Perkins for sticking up to the Atlanta Hawks and shutting Richard Jefferson's mouth because that old head don't know what he's talking about. And I mean, aren't you supposed to be an NBA official? Like, what happened to that? Is that like a broken dream that was shattered? Like, what's going on, Richard? Why are you in a podcast?
For context, what Andy's talking about, Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson, and one other guy, I can't remember who the other guy is, they had their own podcast together. And in the podcast, they brought up the Atlanta Hawks, and Kendrick Perkins was just mentioning that in his eyes, the Atlanta Hawks is not a team you want to face come postseason time. And Richard Jefferson kind of laughed at it and said, I don't know why everybody's over-exaggerating about the Hawks. This team is really mediocre. And Kendrick Perkins kind of stopped there and was like, how are they mediocre? Like, he went over the numbers. He went over the teams that we beat. And Richard Jefferson was kind of making the point that, the Magic's not what they are without Franz Wagner, which, by the way, the game we're about to get into next featured Franz Wagner. We'll talk about how that went. So I hope Richard Jefferson watched that. And then Kendrick Perkins, like, they beat the Pistons in overtime. Oh, but they didn't have Cade Cunningham. And he's making those kind of excuses. And, like Andrew mentioned, I'm not a big Kendrick Perkins guy either, but, if I'm looking at Richard Jefferson, I'm just saying, why take an ibuprofen when you can have a perk?
Yeah. I'm also going to have to step in and do a Reese Davis. Let's try to get the ball rolling. I know we're at 40 minutes, but we still
Yeah,
have two games to talk about, and we're going to have to take some time talking about this Magic game for some obvious reasons.
yeah, because this game was
Ooh, boy.
very dirty. Um, yeah. So, on let's see, what day was this? On
My,
Wednesday, April
Tuesday?
Fool's Day.
Oh, it was
No, this game was on
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
April
This game was
Fool's.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, April Fool's Day. The Magic decided to play a little April Fool's prank on us, and not announce Franz Wagner making us think he was injured until today. So April Fool's on us. He returned back for this game. After being out for I believe it was 2 or 3 months for some
Yeah, he missed a good bit of time.
yeah. But yeah, the Hawks were fully healthy. Besides some guys that didn't. Besides two guys that didn't play in Corey Kispert and Buddy Hield, which Buddy Hield, who really hasn't been playing for us anyway, but Corey Kispert, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Maybe we're trying to crack down. Maybe we're trying to figure out our playoff rotation because like we're not gonna
Yeah.
play like our full. Because we're not gonna play like 10 or 11 guys in the playoffs. We're only gonna play around like 8 or 9. So maybe that's just Glenn Snyder trying to decide like who's gonna make the playoff rotation or not.
I think so too. I think so too.
But yeah. So Jalen Johnson. Now was leading score with 32 points. Dyson finished with a double, 15 and 13, 15 points, 13 rebounds, and a steal. Noah finished with 3 steals. CJ McCollum finished with 9 points. Had a very tough shooting night. Finishing 4 for 13 from the field. Jalen Johnson had a bit of an off night, only scoring 18 points. Okongu had 16 and 7, and Jonathan Kuminga had 12 off the bench, along with Jock Landale Jock Landale off the bench. But speaking of Jock Landale, Andrew, why don't you break us down what happened? What started this, and what exactly happened?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the Jot Lindell situation, and then I'll throw it over to Chase, and Chase will kind of give a recap of how the game went overall. Jot Lindell. This happened later in the game, late in the third quarter. This is when the Hawks were already pointing belt to booty on the Orlando Magic.
This was in the fourth quarter, by the way.
Oh, fourth quarter. Okay. Yep. Fourth quarter. But yeah, either way, Hawks were putting belt to booty at this point. Emotions were high. Tensions were high for obvious reasons. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks are fighting for that 5th seed. Now, at the time, the 4th seed was still technically open, but now the top 4 seeds are locked. So the highest
I don't think they're officially I think we might still could jump Cleveland for that 4th seed.
The top 4 seeds are already locked. So the highest the Atlanta Hawks can get is a 5th seed. But during this time that was not the case. So the emotions were high. The Atlanta Hawks are trying to play for the 5th seed and maybe make a late push for the 4th seed. But obviously we needed some results to favor us from Cleveland. And then the Orlando Magic, I mean, they were riding a high mid-season, and they kind of reached a point about really just at the first week of March. At the end of that first week, the Magic just really started going a landslide, and now they're being trapped in the play-in. Still a tunnel to maybe get out right before the end of the season. But regardless, they have had immense struggles against the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks actually the win, so spoiler alert, we did win. And that completed the season sweep over the Orlando Magic like we did the 76ers. So the Magic was tired of us. And I mean, they got dominated just a few weeks ago back in Atlanta on Peachtree Night, and they wanted revenge. And Jalen Johnson, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Onyeka Okongwu, they all spoke about it at the end of the game during the post-game interviews. They mentioned that before the game, they all got together and they're like, okay, everybody just look out, be careful because we know the physicality that Orlando plays with. And they don't like us and we don't like them. And they don't have short-term memory loss. They know what happened just a few weeks ago and they know how we've been treating them all season. So expecting to come out with hard nose, low to the ground, elbows leveled, all that kind of physicality you can expect in the paint because that's how the Orlando Magic play. And you can imagine with the tensions being that high, something was about to go down. And sure enough, Jock Landale, fourth quarter, was posted up. It was one of those plays that were designed to hit him under the rim through like a post-up situation so he can make get to the rim, with the defender on his back. We had him set up perfectly in transition. So I can't remember who delivered him the ball. I think it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker or maybe Jalen Johnson. But regardless, try to make the play to John Lando, who was underneath the rim. And then all of a sudden, Gonga Badazi, I think is how you say his name, very ineffective for the Orlando Magic all night long. Just kind of let the emotions get to the best of him. And as John Lindell propelled himself in the air to get the ball, he grabbed him by the shoulder. And I mean, no play towards the ball whatsoever. It was the defined definition of a flagrant foul, just pulled him down as he was in a defensive position. And if you go back and watch the fall, the way that Jock Landale had his right arm positioned underneath him on the point of impact could have been a lot worse than just an ankle sprain, which is where he walked away from. But immediately as soon as he hit the floor, I mean, you could see it in his face. He immediately grabbed that right ankle. I squinted. I mean, you could just tell that it was immediate sharp pain. And then what I really appreciated and what Bob Rathburn really appreciated was the immediate reaction by not just the Atlanta Hawks entirely, but by Dyson Daniels to immediately confront him and then eventually surrounded by the entire Hawks team. And that started a scuffle underneath the rim. Of course, I mean, Bob Rathbone was livid on the call because you could see it. I mean, it was as dirty as a dirty play gets in the NBA. Obviously, it was reviewed and upgraded to a flagrant 2, so he was ejected from the game. And respect to John Lando for going out there and taking his flagrant fouls before he officially checked out for the night and went in the locker room. But that's just the kind of rivalry it's been this year with the Orlando Magic. That's just the kind of night it was. Now, like I said, Chase, emotions were high. The Hawks were pointing belt to the Magic at this point of the game. So, Chase, you tell us how we got to this point.
Wait, before you do that, Andrew, I do want to confirm this. The Hawks do still have a chance to get the 4 seed. It's very, very slim, but we do have a chance for the 4 seed.
The NBA made a post on Instagram saying the top 4 seeds were locked up, though.
No, I was talking with the Angel from church, Andrew, and he was explaining to me how the Hawks can still get the 4 seed. It's not out the window yet.
The NBA made an Instagram post saying how the top 4 seeds in the East were locked up. So I'm confused.
Hold on, let me pull up this thing real quick. Yeah, okay. So if you will allow me to share my screen. Share screen.
I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm just saying I'm wondering why the NBA made a post about the top 4 seeds being locked up. If that's not the case. I have to throw it up here, though.
So if you look right here.
Yeah, it's literally a less than 1% chance. Okay.
And we do have a doubleheader. We do have a doubleheader against Cleveland later on this week. But
that's probably why the NBA made a post, considering we have a 1% chance. Although that would be absolutely hilarious if we still got the 4th seed and then the NBA just looked like idiots. That would be kind of funny.
Because there's 4 games left, and they're 4 games ahead. So if they lose all 4 and we win the next 4, we of course have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Is that really just a 1% chance, though? I feel like that should be a little bit higher than a 1% chance.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, based off like Orlando's schedule, they might seal it tomorrow because I
think they sealed it they might have sealed it tonight actually.
Actually, do they play tonight?
They played the Pacers.
Cleveland's got to play the Grizzlies, us twice, and then the Wizards. So
Oh well,
Okay.
the Cavs just beat the Pacers today, so does that mean it's
But
over?
no, they still have 4 games to play.
Okay.
yeah.
But we do have about 10 minutes left, so
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and hop into this one. And I'll kind of just explain what happened. So the tone was really set from the get-go. And I think the way Nickeil Alexander-Walker explained it in his post-game interview was perfect. He said, as you mentioned, Andrew, they were heading into this game knowing how physical it's going to be, and they were knowing what it meant from both sides. The Atlanta Hawks were heading into this game still wanting to prove themselves to the rest of the league, wanting to make another statement, sweeping the Orlando Magic in the season series and saying it does not matter if Franz Wagner is back. We are still more dominant than they are. We are still a force to be reckoned with. The Magic, of course, had something to say about that, and Desmond Bane right off the bat was playing really physical defense, and he forced 2 turnovers off of Nickeil Alexander-Walker really early, which then turned into points on the other end for the Magic. And with that happening, Desmond Bane was talking a lot of smack, and so was the Orlando Magic bench, and that really got into Nickeil Alexander-Walker's head because he had 2 fouls within like 4 minutes of the game. And he was in their head so much so, or they were in his head so much so, that Quinn Snyder had to pull him out early because of those 2 fouls and give him a little bit of a breather. But after the game, Nall mentioned how that just flipped a switch, not only for him, but the rest of the team, because they saw what kind of tone, what kind of message the Magic were sending, and they knew that they had to immediately match it and combat it with their own form of basketball, which I call Greg Popovich Spurs basketball, but with a little bit of a twist this night because it was a Nall takeover the moment he got back in the game. He played much cleaner for once, knowing he had 2 fouls. But number 2, he took advantage of something that's been a weak spot of the Magic all season long, and that is protecting the rim inside, especially when it comes to explosive guards. Nah knew they had that disadvantage, so they had a little matchup switch. They eventually got Dyson Daniels to get Desmond Bane off of Nall. Nall took advantage of the Magic weak front court defense, was able to get his way inside. When I told you the moment he flew by the first defender and had himself positioned in the paint, it was pure magic, ladies and gentlemen. So much so that I've never seen these type of reactions from Bob Rathbun and Brian Oliver, especially Brian Oliver.
Brian Oliver's call was electric, man.
I'm pretty sure he had some type of aneurysm late in the second quarter. Number 1, there was one play late in the first quarter when I was right at the end when Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I can't remember who it was, put him in a spin cycle, made a nice little layup, and I love Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
It was Tristan Da Silva who was guarding him when that happened.
I love Nickeil Alexander-Walker's reaction to things. Like when he surprises himself and blows his own mind, he just looks lost at what he just did. And then right before the half, about 4 minutes left in the second quarter, it was one of the most ferocious spin cycles I think I've ever seen.
It was worse than the first one.
I don't even know if I can perfectly describe it, but if you just go back on the Hawks Instagram and just look like at one of their earlier posts in the game, you're good. The NBA posted as well. It was everywhere. And Brian Oliver's reaction to it was just pure insanity. And there was an Atlanta Hawks couple.
What was he screaming? What was he screaming? He was like, "Send help! Send help!"
Yeah, he was like, "Send help! He needs help, y'all! He needs help!"
Dude, it was so funny, bro. I love Brian Oliver, man.
There's an Atlanta Hawks couple sitting right under the rim, and he screamed so loud that Harry the Hawk made a post about it and said, "Who the crap is screaming?" Because he just let out a ferocious scream. Everybody was losing their mind, and that's just the kind of momentum that the Atlanta Hawks ran with the rest of the way. CJ McCollum went on a nice little spurt. He was terrific in the mid-range game. Jalen Johnson took his physicality inside as well, had a lot of tough makes at the rim, had a lot of multiple and one opportunities. The Hawks did in general, which so did the Magic, which was a little annoying. But the Atlanta Hawks struggled to make their free throw after the and one. And I mean, they still had they shot about 40-something% from deep as well. But the main point of emphasis was inside. Jock Landale had a really good game inside as well, until of course he was taken away with his injury. And yeah, and like I said, no, summed it up perfectly post game. He said we took the message of Magic said early, we matched it, and we combated it with our own style of basketball. And if they want to be physical, we were gonna hurt them with our own game,
Right.
with a little bit of finesse mixed in with it, courtesy of the kill Alexander Walker. I thought for a minute he was going to have another 40 piece. He came really close. He had a 30 piece, but nonetheless, the Orlando Magic specifically don't want to play the Hawks in the postseason, especially Nikhil Alexander Walker.
Yeah, because mind you, his career high, like Chase just mentioned, was 41 points against the Orlando Magic just a few weeks ago. And then, it's just something about him against the Orlando Magic. I think he plays with another edge. But I know we got to get to the other game. But something that Chase didn't mention that I want to bring up is, talking about the first quarter, which is about the only point of the game where the Magic could keep up with the Hawks momentum. But Desmond Bane actually hit two really big threes early in the game for the Orlando Magic. And then after that, their 3-point game completely vanished for the rest of the night. And that pays credit because remember, we talked about it a lot early in the season. The biggest critique we always had was the Hawks' refusal to close out the 3-point shot. And that has not been an issue over this big streak that the Hawks have been on. And you could see it in this game, forcing the Magic to shoot a horrendous 6 for 32 from the line. And at one point, they were 1 for 21. And that's because we were quick to close out and we were not getting caught on screens. And then something we didn't mention as well that I just want to throw out there because it was funny.
Well, before you move on, Desmond Bane, to your point, it wasn't two quick threes. He actually made a three on the second possession of the game for the Magic, and then after that three, they didn't make another one until like the closing minutes of the third quarter. No, I know. Yeah. I'm sorry. It was the opening minutes of the fourth quarter. So think about that. They made a three their second possession of the game, and it wasn't till the start of the fourth quarter when they made their next one. I have never seen a struggle from deep like that from anyone in the NBA.
Yeah, like I mentioned, they were 1 for 21 at one point in the game.
Yeah.
And then of course something I know we got to make this next game pretty quick. Freaking Buddy Hield got teed up like in the first few minutes of the game off the bench because of something he said after one of the Hawks shots that I guess the ref didn't like. But how are you going to tee up Buddy Hield, dude? He's like probably one of the nicest, chillest dudes in the NBA. He's the hype man off the bench that every team needs, man. Even Bob Radford was like, I don't care what he said. How do you tee up a guy like Buddy Hield? But of course, the Hawks didn't care. They were having a field day over it.
Yeah,
and then Buddy Hield had never shut up the rest of the night. Buddy Hield actually, I think, got worse after he got teed up. It was just a funny moment.
Yeah, it was one of Jalen Johnson's contested shots at the rim that should have clearly been an and one, and Buddy Hield was screaming because the ref didn't call a foul. But like you said, Buddy Hield is like one of the few only players in the league that can do whatever he wants, and nobody gets upset. Like the game that we had against Golden State when he dunked it in the final seconds of the game just to inspire the Warriors. Typically, that would start a big brawl, but because it was Buddy Hield, former teammates, they knew what he was doing. It was all out of good fun. And yeah, not many players can do stuff like that, but Buddy Hield certainly can.
Anyways, I know we're running out of time, so just quickly get into this last game.
Yeah, we did this one pretty quick.
For the last game that we're going to talk about, it was a mauling of the Brooklyn Nets, who are not trying to win, obviously, because they're aiming for a top pick in the draft. But yeah, basically, the Hawks win this game 141 to 107. CJ McCollum finished with 25 points. Nikhil Alexander Walker finished with 21. Jalen Johnson finished with 18. Nneka Okongwu finished with 15. Tyson Daniels finished with 11. Corey Kispert got some playing time, a ton of playing time too. this is assuming because of Jock Landale's injury. But he finished with 13 points. Jonathan Kuminga finished with 12 points off the bench, three for three from the 3-point range, finishing with 12 points. The MVP of the game was Keaton Wallace, finishing 2 for 2.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Yeah.
Finishing with 4 points. I mean,
Keaton's rubbing off on him, man.
Yeah, no. I guess so. Since you, we know Andrew, I do kind of feel bad because you left him off your list, off your all-time draft list. So
I was trying to be nice, guys.
Maybe I'm the real Keaton Wallace fan here. Who knows?
There's no bigger fan than me. Let's not get it twisted. There's no bigger fan than me.
Anyways, Andrew, why don't you send us home with this game? What happened?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what the box score shows. I mean, 141 dropped on the Brooklyn Nets. We talk about it. I mean, we've already debunked the theory that the Hawks don't play any competition because actually, as of late, we've actually had a decent stretch of hard matchups, and we handle business where we should against teams like Portland, Boston, Orlando. And then you got these games right here that's just outmatched. You got one team who's practically tanking for a higher pick. You got the Hawks who are competing for a high seed in the postseason. And we handle business as we should, dropping 141 on the Brooklyn Nets. The only real thing I'm going to say is Jonathan Kuminga, one of the best defensive games he's ever played as an Atlanta Hawk. Absolutely loved the way Jonathan Kuminga played in that game. CJ McCollum was fun. He really got out to a hot start early and kept that momentum consistently throughout the rest of the night.
Great defense. Dyson Daniels had 5 steals in this game.
He had 4 steals in the first quarter. 4 of those 5 steals came in the first quarter. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Dyson Daniels master class, bringing the taste of the Great Barrier Thief to Brooklyn. That's really all I got to say is the Hawks handle business exactly as we should, gearing up for that big game tomorrow night against the New York Knicks. Chase, what do you got to send us home?
I just have a quick comment. I just want to mention that you can kind of tell the confidence that the Atlanta Hawks team has in themselves and that Quinn Snyder has, because you could tell the game plan took a little bit of a shift. Usually it's a little more fluid offensively, a lot more ball movement than what was showcased in Brooklyn, but you can tell Quinn Snyder gave them the privilege and the availability to play free, to play loose, and to kind of play their own style of basketball on the court. Personally, like whoever had the ball, they were free to play their own style of basketball, and that opened the door for players like Gabe Vincent to make a bigger impact than he usually does.
What's the whole scuba thing behind Gabe Vincent? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Yeah, apparently, like Gabe Vincent, apparently it was something he was doing in LA as well. But every time he makes a 3, the whole team does this little celebration, and they call it scuba. Apparently, it's a little celebration that Gabe Vincent brought with him from LA, and it's kind of grown on the team. So hopefully, we get a couple more highlight. Yeah. The Hawks admin. The Hawks admin on Instagram has a field day with us, so hopefully we can get some more Gabe Vincent highlight plays and we can get more of that scuba celebration.
Yeah, he had that little step back 3 from the corner, and the whole bench was doing the little scuba thing. It was awesome. Dude.
It was pretty cool.
You can tell the team's just having so much fun. The vibes on the team are at an all-time high. There is no better time to be an Atlanta Hawks fan right now. This is some great basketball.
Anyways, before we got here, just to wrap things up real quick, the Hawks for the final 4 games of the regular season, because we are for sure going to the playoffs, assuming we don't lose these games and fall back into play-in. But that's a long shot. That's a long shot. Knock on wood that we keep the 5 and 6.
I'm done with playing basketball. We're on to bigger and better things.
Done playing regular season basketball and trying to. Actually, no, we're done playing mediocre basketball. But yeah, now to finish things off, we have a game against the Knicks tomorrow, as one of y'all previously just said. We have the Knicks tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on Peacock and NBC. Then we go to Cleveland on ESPN again to face off against the Cavs. then we will take the Cavs with us back to Atlanta to play them at home in State Farm Arena, and then we will drive down to South Beach and play against the Miami on Sunday, April 12th, to finish off the regular season. Like I said, the regular season, because we will be going to the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir, baby. Oh yeah.
Finally, we get to talk about some playoff basketball. I'm so excited because last summer, I don't know, but I was struggling finding some topics to talk about.
We were crawling at scraps last summer, man.
Yeah, last summer
we ain't gonna be doing that this, man. We can actually
about some. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some playoff games.
We're guaranteed at least one round to talk about Hawks basketball. But hey, that's better. That's better than nothing. Because last year we had to come up with some random ass topics.
A lot of Sporkle quizzes.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time on Sporkle.
Like Hawks trivia,
random, all that kind of stuff.
Like random, like shark facts or whatever.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, we did do that crap. We were like National Geographic. We were like National Geographic for a week, bro.
Yeah, when your team doesn't make the postseason, it gets a little desperate.
Yeah, that's funny, bro. I totally forgot about that.
But hey, we don't have to worry about that this season. This playoffs, we're at least guaranteed one playoff series to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Hopefully two, but you know what? But you know what? Again, thank you guys for tuning into episode 74 of Talking ATL Hawks. We will see you guys next week. Caw-caw!